if Millie lets us, because it isn't easy to prepare bread with a cow. Is it, sweetheart? Hi, and a big welcome to Steve's Bush Kitchen. We had Millie the cow come over. We've got some lovely guests coming over tonight. We're going to be getting the campfire cracking very shortly, but I promised them a nice loaf of bread, so we're going to do a bush campfire bread, a proper loaf. I'm going for a cob loaf. We've got some nice strong flour, and I'm going to have to wing it a little bit. I know the texture I'm looking for, but I want to make a nice dark cob loaf if I can. So Millie's come. She likes a stroke. You like a stroke, don't you? And get your tongue in your nose. Well, how can you do a loaf of bread when Millie rocks up? Okay, about a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half of instant dried yeast. A pinch, maybe a pinch and a half of salt, just away from the yeast. I'm going to add in a little bit of water, about a cup to start with. Start to draw that together. Now I can already feel this is a little bit dry. So I'm going to add a bit more water in, maybe a quarter of a cup. I want a fairly wet dough, not too wet, something that I can handle. It will be sticky, but as I work it, it'll get less sticky. A little more water in there. You can always add a tiny bit more flour in. Now that's starting to come together, that's shaggy. It's a little dry underneath. It might be just a little bit wet. I might have overdone it, so I might need to put a little extra flour into that. So I'll shake a little more flour in there, pop some down on the counter. We can use that in a moment. Get the fork off, and I'll start to feel how this dough is forming. Still a little wet, nice and shaggy. Now I washed my hands in the creek, so they're lovely and clean. Should have been a surgeon. Some more of that flour in there. Lovely strong bread flour. Gluten's developing nicely. And now I can start to work and stretch. I'm adding a little extra flour in there. I want it nice and soft and silky. There's a few lumps of dry dough in there, and we're just going to work them in. Now we're cooking bush, so stay clean. There isn't facilities out here to clean up, so some little tips. Get the dough and start working it over the fork. Rub it and get most of that sticky dough off of there. There's a little bit there, a little awkward bit, and that way it's just going to make things easier to clean up. Same with your countertop. This is a bamboo top, so I just give it a little rub, bring up the flour and work it into my bread dough. And that's going to give you just a little less work to do at the end. I'm going to keep forming this piece of dough until it's nice and silky. Because it is such dry heat, I'm going to pop that in a bag. We cover that over, and I want to leave it till it's at least doubled. It may even double and a half in size in this sort of heat. And then I'm going to knock it down and form it again. And then when the campfire's hot later on, we're going to bake this. Now it's all a bit experimental. We've done a bit of bread out here. It's worked well. Today it's going for a sort of cob loaf. Let's see how it comes out. So the dough's proofing. Preheat your oven for 1.5 hours on red hot coals. Got to clean off the hands in the creek. Better hope the crocs aren't attracted to Better hope the crocs aren't attracted to bread flour. G'day. Now the log fire's on. Come and take a look at the dough. It's proved beautifully. So that's at least doubled in size. What I want to do now is just knock this down. I'm going to take this out of here. Got a little bit of oil on the base. A little bit of soot on my hands. That's all good. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this dough round and form a nice tight elastic. Turn around that way, you'll probably be able to see it better. So I'm just pushing the dough under. That is going to be my loaf. Now I'm going to lift that up and pop it into a little split tin. It's about the only thing we've got. I'm going to drizzle a little olive oil over that as well. Just a few sunflower seeds over the top. And there we have it. We're going to cover that now and let it again about maybe 20 to 40 minutes until it's doubled in size and ready to bake. Peter's arrived. What I've done is I've got steam in there. I'm hoping she's going to be sizzling. No, what it should do, if it creates enough steam, if you do a baguette, you always do it in a steam environment. It could be too wet. It could be too wet. We're going to give it a try.
Stick some coals on the top and just let it go.
Enough heat on top of this.
One of the jobs I got was there's a cook on the on the cattle stations.
All right.
We had to cook everything in these ovens because we were often 50, 90 k's from the homestead.
Yeah.
And so we cooked everything in camp ovens. So I used to even once, you wouldn't believe this, but I've made a sponge cake in a camp oven.
You can do
once you
anything
get
in these,
used
mate.
to moderate.
Once you get the temperatures, if you put it on there, like we heated some pasties for tomorrow, because tomorrow's going to be just some pre-cooked pasties. I put them on the fire. They burnt pretty quick. I mean, they cook beautifully, but they actually were. You've got to have it off the heat.
What it is, if you stir it up a bit, you see it's got nice potatoes in it and a few chickpeas.
Beautiful, smells gorgeous.
Yeah, it's got a tomato base.
Yeah.
It's a little sweet, so in the spices, so it's a slightly sweet curry, not a dry one. It should be very nice.
Yeah, it looks gorgeous.
If you don't use soap, you can just do it here, yeah?
Yeah, I just got to use it just try and wash the dust out of it. Yeah.
Do you want
A few crocks about, but not to worry.
Do you want to borrow a bucket?
No, this will do.
Hey. So Peter and Miriam, they're nuts. They're not nuts really. They're making use of the facilities. We got croc-infested waters. What a nicer place though to have a wash up and scrub.
Yeah. I'll keep an eye out for the crocodile.
Yeah, you might see it flashing about. In Europe, we walked from France right across Switzerland and Austria and Germany.
Oh, lovely.
Not this summer, it's just past the one before.
So what inspires you to do all this then?
We're a bit crazy.
Just
So-
outside,
So just stupidity then.
Oh.